Hi, I want to provide a bit of background, perhaps by way of an introduction to this module. Um, as the name implies, it I hope it is a practical guide that you can use on a day-to-day basis, not a sort of a high-minded document that become like a philosophy book. And obviously, this is a topic that has been dealt with in many different platforms, in many different places, by many different schools of thought and experts. But my purpose is very simple and direct. Um, First of all, I must acknowledge and the inspirations that I received from my clients that I've been working with in the past, several years, where and they kind of help me realize the gap and how much of a gap there is in terms of our lack of understanding of the mind as a tool, because I took it for granted as I grew up in a kind of mental culture in a Buddhist monastery. There is always a at least at an academic level a discussion referring to the mind as a tool. So even though we might not have perfected it, there's always an awareness that mind is a tool, and you better, if you want to use your mind, you need to understand it. Think of it like if you have a power tool at home and you are not sure about the mechanics of it and the velocity and the power it has, you will be hesitant to use it. Like a chainsaw or a drilling power tool. Only someone with an experience and an understanding of the tool would use it. So in the same way, we have an understanding about the mind, so that we have some degree of caution around using the mind, which I don't normally see in general public, especially in Western societies. I'm not making a value judgment about it. I'm simply observing this fact that if you relate to your mind as you would relate to a tool, that would completely change the way you relate to your mind. Um, because we simply get that. And the other part is that most of the complex machines and devices that we use nowadays come with a manual. So we read the manual before we assemble it, or before we charge it or open it. We read the manual. But for the mind, there is no such a manual. Nobody tell us how to use the mind. Parents will teach you some manners and how to talk to someone, say sorry, or excuse me, or stuff like that. But other than that, unless you go to school and study psychology or listen to an expert in the field, nobody nobody teaches how to use your mind. But at the same time, you use your mind all the time, from the most simple act of, like, buying a bus ticket in the bus, to the most complex, like asking someone out. So I thought of, why don't we combine this understanding that we all have through psychology, meditation practices and all of that, combine that to come up with a manual where you could use that to relate to your mind as a tool. Therefore you become a better user of your mind. And I can list down a number of benefits that would have, but the most important one would be, you would not see the way your mind function as a problem that need treatments, or there's something wrong with you. Like, for example, overthinking is clearly mind doing what it's designed to do. So those are some of the things that I'm going to tackle in this course, but this is just an introduction for you to think of, and so that if this is a good investment for your time and your money, I highly encourage you to uh, uh, sign up for this course. Thank you.